Hi, I'm Erin with Homeschool Connections, and we're here today with Dr. Henry Russell. Henry, great to have you here.
Oh, good morning. It's great to be with you.
And I'm excited to hear about your courses here at Homeschool Connections. Tell me about what you teach.
Oh, I love to talk about them. Honestly, I teach everything from Homer up through Dante and Shakespeare and Tolkien to Willa Cather, and Death Comes for the Archbishop.
Literature from here to here,
Pretty much.
right? All the
Pretty much.
literature, and is this for middle and high school students?
It is. I'm probably most useful for upper level high school students, even college students, but I always try to make it accessible for the middle school as well.
Awesome. So you have quite a few courses. Tell me about some of your favorite courses or courses that parents and students tend to really gravitate toward.
Well, I think everybody knows that they need courses on the Iliad and the Odyssey, Virgil's Aeneid, these great bases of Western morality and Western literature. And they're so rich in their understanding of what it means to be human. And it's so beautiful to see in them the seeds of Christianity, as the church fathers used to say about them. But then, of course, how can you not love the High Middle Ages with Beowulf and Dante and all of these books that deliberately use the typology of Holy Scripture as they are forming their characters and their actions to try to teach their readers how to behave in this world and what to avoid. And of course, that tradition moves right on upward through things like the Scarlet Letter, through Melville's Moby Dick, and even into the modern world with wonderful authors like Willa Cather, who seems to be in her lifetime rediscovering the truths of the gospel, and in something like Death Comes for the Archbishop, celebrating this marvelous apostle who goes out into the howling wilderness of New Mexico and tries to convert the land when he could have stayed home in France and enjoyed a high culture. So, literature is beautiful at all times. It teaches us.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm hearing that this is not just let's learn the book. It's how does this apply to me, to my faith, to living? Am I hearing that right?
Oh, you're hearing it perfectly. This is the only reason I teach literature. If it was just to appreciate the beauty of the book, I don't know that it would be worth it. But literature is always about the highest ideas, ideals, and hopes of a people, what they've learned in their philosophy, their theology. And they embody it into characters so that we can connect, and see, this is my life that I'm reading about, whether it's a good life or a bad life, right? And when you're dealing with a man like Macbeth, it's a warning to us. None of us are quite that bad, but, we're doing things that are just a little too much like him.
Right. So literature is a connection. It's a connection for us seeing ourselves in the characters and for that cathartic connection release, right, in story and what it does for us as people. It's quite psychological.
It's a way of gaining experience in virtue and vice without necessarily having to go do it yourself.
Right.
You can avoid the vice.
Yes.
And you can imitate the virtues. There's so many fabulous examples in literature. And, this was always the sense of our forefathers and our foremothers. So you read this in order to improve yourself. Now, obviously, theology is the height of all this, right? She's the queen of the sciences. But literature gives us these wisdoms in a way that's kind of closer to home. You can enjoy them a little more easily. They're not propositional, they're stories. And stories is what we all begin with, at the age of nothing, when our moms tell us stories.
Yeah. And stories are powerful. And this is learning that is for life, learning that is powerful. Some people say,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
why do I have to do those old books anyway? And you're explaining exactly why that connection. There's so much that just unfolds with literature and story.
It really is. It is the wisdom of the ages being
Mm,
made pretty easily available to you.
mm.
Wisdom can often be hard to achieve. It can
Yeah,
involve a lot of hard knocks. So we might
right.
as well absorb as much as we can.
Right. And these are for all students. There's not just a special track of a student or a special type of a student.
No, oh no,
All
goodness, no.
students.
All students.
That's
This is
right.
about liberal education,
Mm,
the education that frees us to be the
right.
kind of people
Mm,
God intended us to be. And
awesome.
these stories never end. I would think they were just as useful for the 80-year-olds.
That's right. That's right. Well, tell me and those watching today a little bit about what qualifies you, uniquely qualifies you to be teaching these courses, your background, a little bit of what you bring to the
Yeah.
table as the instructor.
Well, my collegiate education includes Princeton and writing poetry with James Dickey in South
Just a
Carolina.
few little things.
Yeah, and then right now I teach at the Sacred Heart Seminary in Detroit, and for the Miles Christi Order. And for about the last 15 years, my wife and I have um, taught and administered the St. Augustine's Homeschool Enrichment Program, which in a
There you
couple
go.
days a week provides the backbone of a complete classical education while leaving students at home. So
Mhm.
I've been up to this kind of
You
shift for about 30 years or
you've
more.
been doing this a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are what I call a master teacher. Extremely skilled with rich background in what you do and the ability to touch students' lives quickly and powerfully. So, thank you for being here at Homeschool Connections to do that. You're just a gift to the students. Tell me a little bit something about you that maybe reading your bio on the website or looking at your courses in the course catalog that people might not know just by looking at those sources.
Well, let's see. We have 8 children, all of whom are wonderful and perfect, of course.
Of course.
And over the years, we've raised with them llamas and cattle and sheep and goats and chickens and peacocks and just,
Oh,
enjoyed
how
being
fun.
surrounded by life.
That's awesome. Do you have a little bit of land then?
We have a few acres, yes. We're also
Awesome.
hunters in the family. The boys are much better than I am.
Oh, how fun. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to tell parents or students watching about coming into your courses and being a part of learning with you?
Just get ready to enjoy the book, right? I mean, when I walk into a classroom with Shakespeare and his infinite
Mm,
wisdom and his beautiful Catholicity, I always teach him as Shakespeare the Catholic.
yeah.
Um, Forget about me. He's the
Mm,
important one, and that's where all the greatness comes out.
that's right. Awesome. So for those watching, if you are looking for courses in literature that are classical or medieval or Shakespearean or any of this, I think you're going to find the great courses here with Dr. Henry Russell. You can find his course descriptions in the catalog at homeschoolconnections.com. There's live catalog and a recorded catalog, so you can go there for details. There are week by week what's in each and every week, as well as in the course, as well as a write-up on the course so that you can see if that course fits perfectly for you. And Henry, if they want to have a question about a course in particular and want to reach out to you, is it best to go through homeschoolconnections@gmail.com and connect with you there, or do you have another email that you want to share? What's the best way to
Well,
connect with parents?
yeah, thank you. They could go through St. Augustine's, St. Augustine's HEP. We have a website there.
Awesome.
Or they could contact me directly through Mary Shire from our Blessed Mother and the Shire of Tolkien, maryshire@gmail.com.
maryshire@gmail.com. Awesome. Well, thank you, Henry, for being here, for sharing a little bit about you and your courses. And I know that parents and students here are really blessed to have the wisdom and knowledge that you bring here at Homeschool Connections.
Well, thank you. It's such a pleasure to teach for Homeschool Connections, and it's such a great resource for families all across the country and the world.
That's right. Absolutely.